Alright guys, so today we're going to be doing something that I don't normally do, which is redo a video, but I feel like this one deserves it. Obviously you saw from the title, we're going to be seeing if space heaters can start a fire, but I've already done this video, but in the original video, I don't feel like I covered all of the bases. Like I feel like I kind of half did the video, so I feel like this really deserves a redo. So we're going to be doing basically the same things, but just with different materials. And in the first one, I had everything, all the materials leaned up against cinder blocks, and a lot of you said that the cinder blocks were absorbing all the heat, and that's why nothing was catching on fire. So today we're just going to do it just quick and simple. I'm just going to put the space heater on the table and just hold the different things in front of it. And we're going to be using the two, mainly this heater, the old heater, because I still feel like this one has the best chance of starting a fire. But if this one doesn't give us what we want, then I'll switch to this one. Of course, I'm going to be doing some tests with this one anyway, but I still, I might be completely wrong, but I just feel like this one has the best chance of starting a fire. Because this one, if you remember, it kept overheating and shutting down. I mean, they both did, but this one did it way faster than this one. So let's just go ahead and start with this heater. And what we're going to do, like I said, this one is just going to be just quick and dirty and just kind of get straight to the point. So I figure since we're seeing if they can start a fire, and obviously if you watched the last video, there was like virtually nothing that I could do to get the space heater to start a fire. There was like, if I remember right, like I put a towel in front of me and it just turned a little bit brown, and that was it. So this time we're going to start with some Zippo survival matches, and I'm just going to turn the heater on and hold the match right in front of the heater and see if a heater can see if it can just light a match. See if it can do that. Just in case you've never seen survival matches before, they're basically just, this is what they look like. They're basically just big versions of a regular match, just obviously they're for survival, so they should light extremely easy, and hopefully the space heater lights it with no problem. Let's go ahead and get this thing turned on. Alright, that seems like it's, yep, that is up to temperature, that is nice and hot. Let's go ahead and hold this in front of this. See if it'll light it. I'm going to hold it extremely close, but I'm not going to touch the metal grate. It looks like it might be turning brown a little bit. It actually looks like it's like trying to boil. Oh, there we go. So a heater can light a survival match. Well, that is a good start. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't entirely sure that was going to happen. It didn't look like it in the beginning, but we're off to a good start. Next up, let's try just a piece of printer paper. This is just regular printer paper that I've just cut in half just to be the size of the heater. So let's give that a shot. I'm going to do the same thing as the match. I'm just going to hold it as close to the grill as possible, but I'm not going to touch the grill. Ooh, this is actually getting really hot on the fingers. Well, you can see it's kind of starting to burn. Let me get some gloves. Alright, fresh piece of paper. Let's go again. We've got a big burnt spot, but so far I don't see any smoke and there's no flames. Oh, and the heater just shut down. That's all we could get before the heater shut down. So I guess let's wait for the heater to reset, and then maybe we'll try holding it maybe a little bit farther away or something. So while we're waiting on this one to cool down from overheating, why not try the other one? I feel like this one could have a better chance. I'm going to try to give it the best chance possible. I'm going to kind of lean it back a little bit. My main thing is, in order for it to start a fire, it's going to have to not overheat. If I take a piece of paper, of course I'll cut it in half, but if I take half a sheet of paper, just like the other heater, and maybe put it like right here, all the heat still has plenty of room to escape, so it shouldn't overheat, and this little surface area shouldn't be enough to make it overheat. So maybe maybe this will start a fire. You can see this is getting hot, how red it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a couple pieces of duct tape onto this paper. Use that to kind of tape it around the front of the heater, and that should work pretty good. So let's put it here, put the tape on the back, and now we wait. It's only been a couple of minutes, but so far I can almost see just the slightest amount of like browning right here in the middle. So far, I don't have very high hopes for this. We're about 8 minutes in. Looks like something's actually starting to happen. Maybe it actually will catch on fire. But if I had to guess, I'm going to assume that this is probably not going to catch on fire, and it's probably just going to char the whole piece of paper with no flames. If I had to make an educated guess. Alright, so it's been roughly about 16.5 minutes, and it just kicked off on, I'm assuming, the overheat protection. So it really didn't even do that much. It just kind of charred the paper a little bit where the grill was. So no flames. So far it's still not looking good. This one overheated just like the other one, and it did even, I already threw it away, but it did even less damage to the paper. Like, it just barely charred it wherever the little grate was touching. So pretty much as I suspected, since this one has such a larger surface area, it's going to be harder to start a fire compared to the other one where everything is just packed into a small little package. So I think we're pretty much just going to revert back to the other one, and then now we can do that paper test from a farther distance, except this time I'm not going to hold it because it gets so hot. So the last time, I built this little rig, I guess you could say. So the last time I held it 1/4 inch away, as close as I could get it without touching the grate. So this time, this is going to be probably 3 inches or so away from the grate. So we'll see what that does. So it's been over 5 minutes, and by this point in the previous test, the heater had already shut down for overheating, and this paper is, yeah, it's hot, but it's not even turning brown. So I'm gonna let it run for probably about 30 minutes and just see what happens, but I really have my doubts that this is gonna do anything. And this wood, I can hear this wood cracking like crazy. Well, it has been 30 minutes, and obviously, as you can tell, the paper's not burnt, it's not on fire, nothing has happened. 2.5 inches away from the grill. So, whenever it was closer than that, it overheated. This time it didn't overheat, but it also didn't cause a fire. So, it's still not looking good for these space heaters causing fires. However, I do want to check the condition of the paper. It just feels like regular paper. Before, whenever the paper was kind of charred, you could just it was almost like it would just snap. But obviously there's none of that here. The paper just seems completely whole. So far, if paper isn't going to catch on fire, I don't have a lot of hope for anything else. Or not anything else, but our next test at least is going to be I have an old undershirt that's been just wore out, probably 5 years old or so. I think it's 100% cotton, same type of deal. We're gonna stretch it out. We'll go 1.5. I don't think anything's gonna happen. Let's give it a shot. I'm actually gonna raise these up because I just realized that these are like not even in the middle of the heater. So it's been a full 30 minutes, and obviously, as you can see, even less than, well, I don't know about less than the paper, but you can see on this side, very slightly brown on this side, and I mean just a little bit on the front, but that's it. It's like it's not on fire, it's not charred, there's literally almost nothing happening. It's seeming just like from the first video that it's not impossible, but it's way harder to start a fire with a space heater than what you think. So let's move on to the next thing. So this next item, I would assume is gonna be one of the easiest things possible to catch on fire. That is gonna be extremely thin toilet paper. Now, if this doesn't catch on fire, I mean, that pretty much tells us that there's not much hope for anything else. That's about 1.25 inches away. Let's see if this can catch on fire. 3, 2, 1. All right, 30 minutes is up. Same story as everything else. Little brown spot, little tiny brown spot. No flames, no fire. Same as everything else. And the last item that a lot of you guys wanted me to test, that a lot of you guys were mad that I didn't test in the first video, is just a piece of cardboard. So, you guys know the drill by now. We're gonna do this just like every other one. I mean, up until now, nothing has caught on fire, and the most we've got is the paper got a little brown spot, and that was it. So I have very low expectations that this will catch on fire. About 1.25 inches, that seems to be where the heater definitely won't overheat and shut down. Here we go. Alright, it's been like 26, 27 minutes. There's literally nothing happening. There's like not even, you can see there's like not even a little brown, like there might be a little tiny brown spot. It's not gonna catch on fire. It's the same story as everything else. So, let's move on. So I lied. There's 2 more things that I wanna try. And these 2 are the 2 absolute worst possible cases, the worst things that you could possibly set your space heater next to, that more than likely you would never sit your space heater next to in a million years, but we're gonna try them anyway. The first one is gonna be dryer lint. This is probably the absolute worst case scenario, is that for some reason you set your space heater on full blast right next to a pile of dryer lint. So let's go ahead and try that. I'm actually gonna hold on to it with some pliers so I don't burn myself. Turn this thing on. We'll let it warm up for a second. All right, here we go. All right, I mean, it smells like it's burning. Like you can tell it turned dark, but it didn't catch on fire. Let's try the other stuff that I have, and then we'll like make a rig or something to hold this for a full 30 minutes like the other stuff. So the next stuff is kindling. So this might even be better than the dryer lint. I don't know exactly what this is made of. I think it's like coconut husk maybe. All right, tinder. Alright, I think that says something about the safety of space heaters. This is literally kindling, that it takes literally one spark to light this stuff on fire. And I sat here and held it against the grill of the space heater for, I don't even know how long, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. And it's like just slightly darker. And that's it. It didn't even light on fire. Alright, I have made this little contraption to hold this tinder against the grate of this heater, and I'm going to let it run for the 30 minutes, see what happens. I highly doubt that's going to catch on fire, but I'll let it run. So it has been 30 minutes that this tinder has sat there right up against the grate, and obviously it didn't catch on fire. Nothing happened. Yet again, I think that really says a lot about how safe these space heaters actually are, because this is like the easiest thing in the world to light. Like, let me show you. Let me show you how little it takes to light this thing on fire. Literally that. That's it. Ah, jeez. Alright, so pretty much my opinion from the original video still stands. These space heaters are way safer than what like the news tells you they are and all that stuff. Like, as you saw, it's nearly impossible to start a fire. The only thing that this thing could start, that this thing could light, was a match. Other than that, it couldn't do anything. And this is a 1500 watt heater. I'm almost positive the most powerful heater that you can buy that plugs into a 110 outlet, they're all gonna be 1500 watts. It can't start, I'm not saying it can't start a fire. I'm just saying, as you saw, it's extremely hard for this thing to start a fire. Now, I'm not saying that you should take one of these and just lean it up against your couch because there's no way that's going to catch on fire. That's not what I'm saying. I do think that this video is helpful to prove that there's some people out there that believe that, like, if you just have a space heater in your house somewhere, that it can just set fire to anything really fast. Obviously that's not the case. 2 videos now that we've done that have pretty much proved how safe these things really are. So let's move on to something else. So something that I'm curious about is, how hard is it to start a fire without a flame? Because as you saw with that space heater and the kindling, the kindling was right there against the space heater on the grill for 30 straight minutes, and it couldn't catch on fire. But then as soon as I took the tiniest little flame and touched it, it went up instantly. How hard is it to catch something on fire but not have a flame, just purely have a heat source? So that is where a heat gun comes in. Now this is basically like a space heater. It has a heating element. It gets hotter than a space heater, but it also has a smaller surface area. And it won't shut down from overheating. So let's see if we can start a fire with this. Obviously our first test is going to be paper. Now let's see if this this heat gun can start a fire. I'm going to let it get nice and hot. You'll probably be able to see the red. Hopefully. Yeah, I'm sure you, yeah, it's pretty hot. Alright, 3, 2, and just so you know, I'm holding it probably about an inch away. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and call that there as that breaks. So you can see the paper's burnt, but it never caught on fire, and there was very, very little smoke. I mean, I just barely saw the tiniest bit of smoke. But clearly, you know, it's brittle, and you know, even now it's not even hot, and it's not, you know, it's not like ashy like a normal burnt, like a normal fire would cause. So you can see even with a heat gun, something that's way hotter than a space heater, it still can't start it still doesn't start a fire. It just, like, I don't know how to explain, like, I don't know how to scientifically explain it, how, like, it chars it, but it doesn't burn it. There's no flames. Let's move on to, let's get another piece of that t-shirt and see what that does. Now, before I do this, I'm going to just go ahead and make an educated guess. And I'm going to assume that the t-shirt is going to do pretty much the exact same thing as the paper. I think it's just going to get charred, but not catch on fire. So we already got smoke, almost instantly. Oh! Well, I was wrong. That actually scared me. Alright, well, the t-shirt actually burst into flames very, very quickly. So, I was completely wrong about that one. Now I'm really conflicted because I didn't think the t-shirt was going to catch on fire. I suspected it to do the same thing as the paper. So, my prediction for the cardboard was going to be that it was just going to get charred and not catch on fire. Now I'm kind of leaning towards that I think it's going to catch on fire. I can already smell it burning. Oh, it's on fire. Well, caught on fire. So I think that was pretty much just as fast as the t-shirt. So, moral of the story. Why does this start fires very easily and this one not? Honestly, I didn't think this one was going to do it. So I'm not going to stand here and pretend like I know all the scientific answers and what all's going on here. But I will tell you what I do know. And what's interesting. This heater is 1500 watts, like I said earlier. This heat gun is 1200 watts. So this heater has more power than this heat gun. But this heat gun can start a fire like a million times faster. Well, not even a million times, because this doesn't even start a fire. So why is that? Like I said, I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. But if this has 1500 watts going into it, and it has a much larger surface area. It has a large spring that's sprung throughout here, and then it has the fan that blows all the air over top of it. And it also probably has a higher airflow. So the energy is being expanded over a larger surface area, and so the temperature of the air coming out isn't all that hot. Whereas this has the heating element, has a very small, compact heating element, and just a small fan that blows all that heat, all that energy out of this small little tip. So that would explain why this is so much hotter and starts fires so much easier. And this, on top of it having a larger surface area and blah blah blah, all that stuff, it's not designed to start a fire. So they've designed it to not start fires because they don't want it to be a hazard. So, and I feel like I did a good job of proving that. I mean, the only thing it could light is a match. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I don't look like too much of an idiot. I'll see you in the next one.